Paraphrasing doesn't mean you skip the citation. And if you've ever wondered exactly what goes in the parentheses when you're not using a direct quote, this is the video for you. I'm Dr. Alexis Jones, and after grading thousands of papers, this is one of the most common points of confusion I see. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to cite a paraphrased idea from a journal article, both in your sentence and on the reference page. When we cite things in APA, we're trying to make sure that we are giving credit where credit is due. This means that we're trying to show our reader that not every single word on the page came out of our brains. Some of these are others' ideas. They might be others' ideas from a book, from a journal article, or even a YouTube video. When you cite a paraphrase section of text, the idea is that you are writing in your own words what you are seeing in the text that you're reading. For example, and again, I made this up completely. When professors teach about scholarly writing, they will often assume students know APA formatting quite well. This is a mistake since APA formatting and the elements of scholarly writing require explicit instruction. And at that point, you would insert a parenthetical citation. Parentheses, last name of the author, comma, 2026, whatever the year of publication is, end parentheses, and then the period. So the period goes at the end of the parentheses. So that is a very, very common format for an in-text citation. What you see at the bottom of the screen here is what would go in your reference section. If this were a real journal or a real journal article, then you would have the last name, comma, first and second initial. You'd have the year of publication, the journal article title, and what we call sentence case, not title case. That'll be another video. APA has a whole section on that. Then the name of the journal in italics, the volume number of the journal in italics, the issue number of that particular journal, not in italics, and then the page range for the article, ending with a period. Finally, to make sure that the reader can identify where in the world they can find this article, you'll include some kind of link. It will most certainly, if it's a journal, be a DOI link, but it can also be some other kind of easily retrievable link. One common mistake that I see is when people forget the citation entirely. And this is a tricky one because no, APA does not want authors to be citing every single sentence in a dissertation or in a thesis or even just a regular course paper. But when you're making a claim and that claim came out of the work that you're reading, you definitely do want to make sure to add a citation, either a narrative citation or a parenthetical citation, and we'll learn about those in other videos. Let's take a look at an example. This mistake is very common with new writers in academia. Children who are read to regularly tend to develop larger vocabularies by kindergarten. This may seem to some of us to be fairly self-explanatory. It's important to read to children. I probably don't need to cite this author, right? That is a mistake. This is a claim that we're making here, and we need to state who has researched this area and who is making this claim. So on the right hand of the slide, you can see how it would be correctly written. Children who are read to regularly tend to develop larger vocabularies by kindergarten. Parentheses, Diaz, comma, 2021, and parentheses, and then the period. This is not a real study. Please don't look this up. This is completely fabricated. It's just to make a point. Another mistake that I see pretty often is when people want to put a little too much information in that parenthetical citation. They put the author's first and last name, or they put the author's first initial and last name, or they put the month and the year of the publication. We don't have to do that, and here's an example of what it should look like. This is an incorrect in-text format when people are a little bit worried about including enough information in their parenthetical citation. It is very rare for us to need to put an author's first initial in a parenthetical citation. I'll definitely include a video of when that would be necessary, or you can find it in your APA 7 guide. But almost all the time, Diaz, 2021, last name, year is going to be sufficient. Another mistake that I see very, very often is that people are not sure what to do when there are 3 or more authors on a particular text. Whenever you have 3 or more authors on a particular text, you use the phrase et al. With a period. Let's take a look. Citing multiple authors is a tricky one for a lot of new students. Diaz, Thompson, and Lee, those are the authors of this piece from 2021, right? So I should include all of their names to make sure that I'm giving credit where credit is due. That is definitely a very well-intentioned effort right there. However, APA 7 says that when we have 3 or more authors on a piece, then we want to use et al. Here's how I remember to use et al. Any of you take French in high school? Et-a means and. And so I think to myself, this means Diaz and friends, right? And so Diaz et al. And all with a period instead of another L for all is what we would use to represent the fact that it's Diaz and several other authors, 2021. Now, don't worry if you're worried about that Thompson and Lee, those other authors who are not being represented in this citation, they definitely get referenced in the references section of a paper, so they'll get their credit, don't worry. And there we have it. Just to wrap up, number 1, whenever you are paraphrasing somebody else's work, whether that be video, audio, or written text, you need to make sure to cite what you're paraphrasing. Number 2, whenever you are citing somebody, generally the last name, year format is going to be good enough. And then number 3, when you have 3 or more authors in a particular work, you're going to use the et al. Formation. I hope this video has been helpful. Please reach out if you have any questions, and we'll see you next time.